In the world of Aeteria, the occult is not a secret whispered in dark corners. It is the world itself. It's the quiet hum beneath the floorboards, and the strange patterns the frost makes on a window pane. Magic is real here. It's found in the forgotten words of old songs and the shapes drawn in the dust. Spirits are not ghosts in the way you might think. They're memories that have grown solid, or emotions that have learned to walk. The occult is the language of the universe, and honestly, not everyone knows how to speak it. It's a thing of symbols, of intentions, and of stories that have been told so many times they have become true. The feeling of Aeteria is one of quiet, creeping wonder. It's not a place of loud bangs and bright flashes of light. Instead, it's a world of deep shadows and things seen from the corner of your eye. The wonder comes from discovering that the world is so much more than it appears. The horror comes from learning that this hidden world does not always have your best interests at heart. It's the feeling of being a small child in a very old house, where every creak tells a story and every locked door holds a mystery. The world is beautiful, but it's also dangerous, like a wild, sleeping animal. Creativity is not just a skill in Aeteria, it's the key to survival. The occult does not respond to brute force or simple commands. It answers to imagination. To face a magical challenge, you can't just learn a spell from a book and recite it perfectly. The magic itself is alive, and honestly, it gets bored. It wants to see something new. A person who can only follow rules will find themselves powerless against a creature made of riddles. But a person who can think of a new answer to an old question, or see a pattern where no one else can, holds true power in their hands. The magic in this world is as unpredictable as a dream. It changes based on who is using it and how they feel. If a sorcerer is angry, their magic might become a storm, wild and uncontrolled. If they are filled with hope, their magic might bloom like a field of impossible flowers. Imagination is the fuel. A spell to create light could be a simple, boring orb, or, in the hands of a creative person, it could become a swarm of tiny glowing moths that flutter and dance, illuminating hidden corners and distracting a foe. The same intention can have 1,000 different results, each one a reflection of the caster's soul. In Aeteria, artists are the true sorcerers. They're the ones who understand that creation is the purest form of magic. A painter doesn't just mix colours on a palette, they capture an emotion and give it a physical form. A musician doesn't just play notes, they weave feelings into the air, creating harmonies that can soothe a restless spirit or frighten away a creature of the dark. Storytellers are the most powerful of all. They can build entire worlds with their words, and if a story is believed by enough people, it can become real. These are not tricks. This is how the world works. The tools of magic are not wands and cauldrons. They are charcoal sticks, clay, and the human voice. A character might find themselves trapped in a room with no doors. A warrior would try to break down the walls. A traditional wizard might search for a hidden switch, but an artist would take a piece of charcoal and simply draw a door on the wall. If they draw it with enough belief, with enough creativity and heart, the door will open. They're not just drawing a picture of a door, they're reminding the wall that it could be a doorway. They're telling it a new story about itself. This kind of magic requires clever thinking, not just raw power. The rules of the occult in Aeteria are strict. Power has a cost. Using a great deal of magic can drain your memories, or steal the colour from your eyes. Resources are scarce. The ink needed to write a binding spell might be made from the tears of a forgotten god, and, honestly, there are not many of those left. This is why creativity is so important. A clever solution uses very little power, but has a huge effect. It's about finding the one loose thread that can unravel the whole problem, instead of trying to burn the entire tapestry. Characters grow not by becoming stronger, but by becoming more imaginative. A young boy might start his journey trying to learn powerful spells to fight monsters. He might fail again and again, but his journey is not about learning to fight better. It's about learning to see the world differently. He might discover that the monster isn't evil, just lonely. Instead of fighting it, he might learn to play a song that it remembers from a long time ago. He solves the problem not with power, but with empathy and art. He has not grown stronger, but he has grown wiser, and in Aeteria, that is far more important. The environments of Aeteria are not static. They are alive and, they are listening. There are forests where the trees whisper secrets to those who know how to listen, and their leaves change colour based on the mood of the person walking beneath them. Imagine a city built on the back of a sleeping giant. The streets might shift and tremble when the giant dreams. The buildings themselves might rearrange their halls and rooms based on the emotions of the people inside. A house might feel welcoming and warm to a happy family, but become a confusing, cold labyrinth to a person filled with guilt or fear. The world reacts to thought. In the whispering canyons, your own doubts and fears echo back at you, not as sounds, but as physical obstacles. If you fear you are not strong enough to make a jump, the canyon will grow wider right before your eyes. If you worry you are lost, the path ahead will split into 100 confusing trails. To cross the canyons, you must have perfect confidence. You must believe you can cross, and the world will bend to your belief. This is a place where your inner landscape becomes the outer landscape. It's a dangerous and honest place to be. The obstacles in this world are rarely straightforward. You will not often find a simple monster to be slain. Instead, you might face a puzzle that has no single right answer, like a door that will only open for someone who can tell it a new joke. You might encounter a threat that adapts to your attacks. Try to fight a sorrow swarm with fire, and it will feed on your aggression and grow larger. The only way to defeat it is to feel genuine happiness, which starves it until it fades away. Knowledge is often hidden, not in books, but in riddles, in paintings, or in the melody of a song. This is why a new perspective is the greatest weapon a character can have. The rules of the world force them to be creative. If you cannot fight your fear, perhaps you can befriend it. If you cannot find the key to a lock, perhaps you can persuade the lock that it doesn't want to be locked anymore. The world is a conversation, and the most creative person is the best conversationalist. They can change the subject, introduce a new idea, or find a common ground that no one else had thought to look for. They do not break the rules of magic. They use the rules in ways no one had ever imagined. There was once a young girl named Aeteria who lived in a stone tower. She was not a prisoner in the usual sense. The tower was her home, but its only exit was a great iron door that was sealed by a silence. A silence was a kind of magic, a heavy stillness that swallowed all sound, all effort, all hope. Pushing on the door was like pushing against a mountain. Shouting at it was like shouting into a pillow. The silence drank every attempt and grew stronger. For years, wise men and strong warriors had tried to open it, and they had all failed, leaving the tower quieter than before. Aeteria was not a wise woman or a strong warrior. She was a painter. She had very little, but she had a small pot of blue paint made from the petals of dream blossoms. It was a beautiful, vibrant blue, the colour of a perfect sky on a perfect day. She spent her days painting on the stone walls of her room, painting pictures of all the places she wanted to go. She painted forests with silver trees and oceans with sleeping whales. The silence did not care. It could not be moved by pictures of things that were far away. It was only concerned with the here and now. One day, Aeteria had a new idea. It was a simple thought, but it felt different from all the others. She did not try to paint a forest or an ocean. She walked to the great iron door, the source of the silence. She dipped her brush in her precious blue paint. Then she began to paint on the door itself. She did not paint a key, or a handle, or another door. She painted a sky. She covered the cold, grey iron with her brilliant, hopeful blue. She painted soft, white clouds drifting lazily across its surface. She painted a small, happy sun in the upper corner. When she was finished, she stepped back. The door was no longer a door. It was a patch of sky. And the silence, which was a magic of heavy, unmoving things, did not know what to do with a piece of sky. A sky is not heavy. A sky is not still. A sky is meant to be open. The silence, confused by this new story, this impossible idea, simply let go. The great iron door, now a beautiful blue, swung open without a sound. Aeteria did not break the magic. She did not fight it. She gave it a new story to believe in. And then she walked out, into a world that was waiting for her.